Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Dorenkamp with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Welcome to a discussion on navigating the crucial pre-plant period and optimizing the growing season for success with Nutrien Ag Solutions. As growers prepare for planting or have recently begun, every decision counts towards ensuring a profitable harvest. Today, we'll explore strategies to help with a successful growing season, delve into financial solutions available through Nutrien Financial, and highlight the importance of at-plant nutrition for a thriving crop year. Let's meet our guests with brief introductions. David, let's start with you.
Yeah, hi, I'm David Doonan. I'm the general manager for the Western Illinois division. I've been with Nutrien for about 19 years in a variety of roles, but from the Western Illinois area, so I'm back at home here. Thank you.
Great to have you on the program today. Ron, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Ron Calhoun. I'm the senior manager for plant nutrition for Loveland Products, which is the proprietary product line owned by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I've been with Nutrien for about 9 years and live in Michigan.
And our third guest, John Maman. John?
Good afternoon. John Maman, Senior Director of Business Development for Nutrien Financial. I live in Indianapolis and have been with Nutrien going on 8 years.
John, let's kick things off with you. As we approach the start of the growing season, what should growers be focusing on right now?
Yeah, so much is going on in the field. We have weather changing. We have weather events even this week. And as that time of year occurs, our growers are worried about getting crops in the field and maintaining that success. I think we should look at making sure the right planting integrity is maintained and then looking at how the economic value of that changes throughout the season.
Ron, David, feel free to chime in. That's a pretty broad question. So as you think about keys to success early on, what would you share?
Yeah, he mentioned about just, the weather events coming in. I think after being cooped up for the winter, we all get a little bit itchy to get out there. And so trying to make sure that we have things in place. And then when the weather finally does break, being able to get out there and do it safely, because sometimes that season can get a little bit compressed.
David, I'd imagine this is a really, really busy time of year for you.
Yeah, it is a really busy time of year for us as well. And, we're just here to try to help our growers get this crop in. And I'm glad Rob brought that up, that you're doing it safely, too, and make sure we all take the extra minute to think about our actions before we go do it. But, it's a really good opportunity for us, to be that partner for that grower with our large fleet and some of our custom application services. So as they're trying to focus on getting their planter set, get the crops in the ground, we can kind of help them with their crop protection needs, the custom application that goes with that, as well as the fertilizer applications.
John, farmers have had months to plan throughout the winter, and now that we're into the spring, what about revisiting their economic plan, their agronomic plans? Things can change in a hurry, weather, markets, things like that. How should growers adapt this best practice?
Yeah, I always say we match agronomics and economics. So everything we do at Nutrien Ag Solutions begins with the agronomic integrity that is offered by our crop consultants and our supporting advisors within our business. And so many times throughout the year, that agronomic plan changes. So should that economic plan. And Nutrien Financial, we like to say we offer financing that's in the field with you. It begins with our territory managers that are there to offer those economic plans and build those plans alongside the agronomic plans that we have with our crop consultants. Every time an agronomic plan changes, there's an economic impact that should be considered. And it's really crucial to make sure that we revisit that throughout the year. I just mentioned we have crops going in the ground. Depending on those outcomes, we should also revisit the economics and make sure that the best terms, rates, and incentives are in play for the inputs that we use from Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Whether we're talking about finances or managing weeds or other things throughout the season, having that flexibility is so important, isn't it?
It's critical. And one of the things that Nutrien Financial offers is the ability to complement the operating line. That operating line is the lifeblood of the organization, and Nutrien Financial provides an alternative line of capital that maximizes the operating line, allows it to focus on paying employees or growing or doing the normal farm operations that you need, while we take care of the input financing that is important to that farm, that operation. And so financing isn't one other worry that our growers face throughout the year.
And David, there's a unique dynamic with Nutrien Ag Solutions. You have a large global footprint and yet services that operate at a very local level. And the approach is one partner, all in. How do your services support farmers, not just during planting season, but throughout the entire year to ensure a successful crop cycle?
That's a great question. So, kind of one partner all in, we do offer a broad range of products, from seed, fertility, crop protection, plant nutrition, as well as biostimulants. And like John has mentioned, capital services through Nutrien Financial. So you can combine that with some of our resources as far as we talked about the weather already today, our weather resources and our meteorologists on staff, and some of the other things that we have, and really we can really help that grower think about that whole season, and kind of really take all the backing that we have and the resources from Waypoint Analytical and things like that, and we can really dial that down to the local environment that customers are operating at. So yeah, we have a large network, but we try to leverage that locally. So each agronomist, each local branch can kind of have that little can have a local flair and meet the needs of those growers in that market, because how we farm here in Western Illinois isn't the same as Western Nebraska. It's not the same as the Delta. So we try to meet those needs where those needs be met.
Give us an idea, because you cover such a broad geography of how farmers are situated going into spring field work, as far as the inputs that they need to have on hand and all of that.
Yeah, we've been working a lot through, we happen to live a little bit where we have some fall application of fertilizer. So we're kind of wrapping up spring fertility applications, making our seed deliveries and working through that. Won't be too much longer. We have had a little bit of planning in this geography, but not a lot, but kind of helping those growers with that first pass of herbicide and maybe some of the biostimulant work to get the nutrients kind of working for them in the soil. We're working on that. And not to mention, we have a large group of customers that spring soil samples. So we're out there right now making sure we're getting those soil samples. And we're also preparing for in-season tissue sampling. So, the soil samples are a great tool for us, but also we want to verify that in-season tissue sampling. So as soon as those growers get those plants in the ground, we'll be following up where the services are needed to follow up with tissue sampling. And if we need to dial any of that plant nutrition in season to optimize their ROI, we'll be there to offer help, and we'll be using a rifle instead of a shotgun. We'll understand what it needs and try to make those applications that make the most economic sense.
Ron, you're uniquely positioned too from an agronomy standpoint, because Nutrien Ag Solutions works in so many different parts of North America, honestly. And when it comes to plant nutrition at the start of the growing season, maybe it's different depending on where we're talking about. But generally speaking, let's unpack that a little bit and why establishment is so important and nutrition plays a vital role.
Yeah, listening to David's comments kind of gets my hairs all tingly. He's hitting on the things that we're doing to try to make sure that the plan we put in place for any particular grower on any particular field matches with what their objectives are. And so starting with soil sampling, getting with your crop consultant, working out that plan. For any of us, right now we talked a little bit about the weather. Somebody mentioned the other day that, not much has gone wrong. And I said, well, not much of us have really started anything for this season yet. I also hear comments about people talking about a normal year. I think really what we have is the middle of a bunch of extreme years. We just have, there's an average. And so we only get 110 days, 120 days, 130 days to actually grow a crop, and not all of those are going to be perfect. And for most of us, we have a lot of land to cover, so there's going to be some of those acres that are planted maybe a little bit before optimum, some of those acres that are planted a little bit after optimum. And so when we look at ways that we can get things off to a great start, there's been a lot of work done looking at the uniformity of emergence and making sure that those fields come up with, plants coming up even within a few hours of each other. And so we've seen a huge growth in the area of liquid at-plant nutrition and growers adding those sorts of toolbars to be able to access some technology. I think about it like a relay race where, the starter fertilizer is really it's getting out of the blocks quickly. So it's not even the first leg of the race. It's getting a great start, getting all those plants up so that every plant in that field has an opportunity to get to maturity. When I started 10 years ago, probably less than 20% of the growers had the equipment on their toolbars to do this sort of application. And now I was visiting with David here recently. He figured we probably have more than about 30% of the growers, maybe as much as 60 to 70% of the acres have the ability to put an at-plant nutrition. And that's really an important piece of, as he mentioned, about micronutrients and biostimulants. There are things that are on our soil test, but weather, Mother Nature, soil physical properties kind of fight against us to not allowing those things get off the soil test and into the plant. So putting some things in there and around that seed and getting that investment off to a great start has really proven to be a very important piece that's added in here over the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, you're right. The advancements that we've seen over the past decade or more have been incredible. And let's circle back, David, to soil testing and data analysis, because we've seen a lot of advancements in that area. What role does precision ag technology play in helping growers make better soil management decisions?
Yeah, there's lots to unpack that question. But yeah, we have the kind of the opportunity, depending on how growers want to manage their fields and farms. But we can do zone management. We can also we do a lot of grid sampling, and we've also been we've been expanding our RTK network and RTK mapping farms along with some of these things. But I think the precision thinking goes a step farther than our normal kind of chemistry soil tests that we've been kind of accustomed to. Of course, we're looking at the macros and micros, but kind of the next layer we've been looking at and working with Waypoint Analytical is we've been looking at a lot of soil DNA work or soil biology results too. So we're trying to understand the soils of there's a lot of living organisms within that soil. So understand how they're going to work throughout the growing season too. And it kind of helps kind of tie into what Ron talks about too. When we look at biostimulants or biologicals or plant nutrition is kind of what's happening, what's the life underneath the soil or the livestock underneath our feet, what do they do? And so we've been focusing a lot on that, which has been a big expansion with our precision network. And it's been going really well. But yeah, that we also tie this into, and Ron hit this and I touched on it earlier, we tie this into tissue sampling as well. So sometimes something beyond the soil test doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have uptake within the plant. So we want to make sure we're allocating our growers' dollars as wisely as possible, especially in these type of economic environments. So we want to verify those things through tissue sampling and tying all these things together through our Echelon program and some of other digital tools really gives our agronomists the information they need to really help lead that grower through a very challenging year when it comes to economics.
Ron, let's hit on products a little bit. What can help growers achieve that ideal plant growth during the critical early stages?
David just mentioned about, looking at that soil biological testing and understanding that, so much of what happens in the soil is based on the power of soil biology, right? And so that biochemistry that soil microbial community generates. And if we are planting in soils that are a little bit wet, a little bit cool, those sorts of situations that might limit that functioning of that community, we find that applying biochemistry or biostimulants in with that can help leverage some of that. And so we have a product called Accomplish Max, which takes sort of a soil microbial community, allows it to flourish in a very controlled situation, and then harvests from that community all of that biochemistry that makes things happen, concentrates that down and puts that in a product that can easily get mixed in with your liquid fertilizer and that sort of thing. And so we're sort of giving a jump start to what we would hope that soil microbial community could do on its own, but we're providing that function kind of before it's up and running. And that's a real advantage early on. And then we partner that Accomplish Max product not just with the soil microbial community, but also a digestion of cold water sea kelp. And that sea kelp grows in an environment that's quite harsh. It's a cold, salty water. About every 6 hours, the tide goes out, and that kelp is baking on a rock, and then it's flooded again. So there's chemistry in that sea kelp that can allow that to survive in a harsh condition. And as it ends up, that same chemistry, when distilled down and put into this product, we can help overcome some early season stress, whether that be salt tolerance, whether it be, you get one day that's 70 and the next day is 40, trying to overcome some of that variability, giving us just a little bit of a boost as we get up and out of the ground. And so that Accomplish Max is a great sort of product that fits into a lot of programs.
John, we are going to get back to you and finances, but before that, David, you lead a large group of people that influence hundreds of thousands of acres and customers of various sizes. So what differentiates your team, and how can they be the best advocates for farmers, do you think?
Yeah, so of course, we have wonderful people, and they're all dedicated and really look out for the what's best for their customers. But what really helps them differentiate themselves is our network. And we have the resources that John speaks to with the Nutrien Financial and the capital management component of our business, and Ron represents our plant nutrition, biostimulants. We have a lot of excellent products in these spaces, and we also have a lot of resources. So we double down on training and development with our staff, and really make sure that they're up to date with all this new technologies or any resources that we can get in front of growers to help enhance our operations. So the real beauty of it is that our local facilities, they're operating right there in the communities with our growers. We want to be very much part of that community, but we have the strength behind us that a global organization would have, and it's our job to leverage those and get those in front of our growers, and that's what really makes us unique, and that's how we bring the value to our clients.
John, there is so much financial uncertainty affecting farmers right now, and interest rates being one, margins are tight. And as farmers navigate all of that uncertainty, how can they stay connected and informed with Nutrien's financing options?
Yeah, David mentioned having great people and allowing great people to empower even better decisions. That begins first with our crop consultants, who are well-versed in all of our different offerings and the economics that help complement the agronomics they're placing on the acre. As well as enhancing that outcome with our Nutrien Financial territory managers, offering that white glove service to sit down in the field with our customers to plan at various times of the year that are agronomically and economically relevant to our customers and their crop mix. And beyond that, Nutrien Financial is investing significantly within the Nutrien Digital Hub to enhance our presence and awareness of tools that our growers need, whether it's the ability to pay online, look at invoicing, purchase history, additional account details. But beyond that, exploring the variety of programs that we offer in the marketplace that are relevant for their crop, their acre, their geography at their fingertips. And so that can be done by going to the Nutrien Digital Hub, as well as accessing all of the relevant agronomic and weather-related content that we've mentioned already, all in one place, anytime that our growers need it.
And David, as far as finding out more with Nutrien Ag Solutions as farmers make decisions throughout the crop year, what should they do?
Yeah, first of all, our first step to really engage those growers is talk to your local branch and a local crop consultant. And then also we have resources, if you don't know where those are at nutrienagsolutions.com, and some other online resources as well on social media.
Gentlemen, we've covered a lot today, but if there's anything else you want to be sure we discuss, now's the time.
I just want to say that I love David's approach and the way that they don't cookie cutter it, and even to hear John, as they've developed these solutions that fit. Every operation is different. Every season is different. The goals are different. And so being able to adapt that so that, we talked about, we want to make sure that the next dollar is spent the best way. And in some cases, that might even be in keep it in your pocket, because you want to have that break glass in case of emergency. And so sitting down with your local crop consultant that knows your business, knows your objectives, knows what you want to achieve is just a great way to kind of work together so that we can do this again next year and the year after that.
Yeah, Ron, I would add too, that's how Nutrien takes a global team of experts and makes it relevant for our customers on their turn row, their farm gate, and their acre. And by providing all of the resources that we have and making sure it's relevant at that localized level, wherever we need to meet our growers.
Yeah,
John, Ron, David, great information. Oh, David, did you have one more thing to add?
Yeah, one last comment. When it comes to growers, the thing that's on top of my mind as we go into a spring season, we're starting off probably it looks like a little wet here, but number one thing that comes to my mind is safety. And I know our industry we have some challenges when it comes to the safety front, and I know time's always limited, but we only get so many growing seasons in our lives, and we want to make sure we optimize all those. And I know inside this industry, we all know of somebody who's been seriously injured, or in some cases, unfortunately, we've experienced fatalities or someone who knows killed. So number one thing I just want to say before we get started another growing season is make sure we're looking out for each other and being safe so we get to enjoy all the different growing seasons we have in front of us.
Appropriate that we end on that. Good point. And thanks, guys, again. It's really been a pleasure visiting with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Dorenkamp with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Nutrien Ag Solutions.